back to men's basketball. On December 4th, the Summit League took on the Big Ten. We had Omaha at Wisconsin, South Dakota State at Minnesota, and we start the highlights with South Dakota at Iowa.
This was the first meeting between the Hawkeyes and the Coyotes in almost 50 years. Got to go back to 64-65 the last time they played. Iowa gets out to the early lead. Mike Gessel on the drive, and the Hawkeyes up 6-0. Kareem Rosen gets USD on the board. He had 8. And the Coyotes went 9 of 22 on three-point shots. Casey Kasperbauer had 4 of them. He had 14. Jordan Boots had 3 threes. He had 9 off the bench. And the Coyotes had a 1-point lead with just under 8 minutes to go in the first half. But Iowa pushes the lead back to double digits. Adam Woodbury hammers that down. And then Gessel again inside. The Hawkeyes go on a 15-3 run to end the first half. And it's 45-32 Iowa at the half. Coyotes got the lead down to 10, but no closer than that. 87-63 is the final.
Trevor Gruis had 12 in that game for USD. Javal Miles, though, just 3 for the Coyotes. Obviously got to have more out of him.
Yeah, USD is going to need him to be a much bigger producer on the offensive end, more efficient, too. He's taking a lot of shots. They need him to get the ball in the hoop.
All right, what is a good performance for a Summit League team against a Big Ten team, in your opinion?
I think you gauge it in a couple ways. One is, how are they doing in the second half of the ballgame? Are they challenging the bigger school at that point? And we really have yet to see a Summit League team really do that against a bigger school. Outside of South Dakota State that night, they opened the season at Alabama.
All right, the Coyotes, by the way, at home on Saturday against Ball State. They just played at Ball State, lost that one 62-51. A game we were really looking forward to was South Dakota State at Minnesota, but Jackrabbit star Nate Walters turned an ankle in practice the night before the game, did not play. So here are the Jacks and the Gophers, and then the Jacks back at home against Cal Bakersfield.
Had a crowd of just over 10,000 at Williams Arena in Minneapolis. The Gophers 5-0 at home. Going into this game, Jacks playing without Nate Walters and Tavon Prince, sitting it out with injuries. Chad White got it going for the Jackrabbits, one of his 3 threes. White had 10 points, but the Jacks never had the lead in this game. Marcus Heemstra going against 6'11" Elliot Eliason. Nice move, 7 points, 4 rebounds off the bench for Marcus Heemstra. But the Gophers have a ton of talent from the Twin Cities. Andre Ingram is from Minneapolis. 2 of his 7 right there. Minnesota outscored the Jacks 38-16 in the paint in this game. Trevor Mbakwe is from St. Paul, Minnesota, coming off the bench right now for the Gophers. 8 points, 10 rebounds in 14 minutes. Minnesota built a sizable lead in the first half in this one. Jake Biddle got the start in place of Nate Walters, the true freshman from Oklahoma. 5 points, 7 assists, 7 turnovers in his first college start. Andre Hollins, meanwhile, not from the Twin Cities. He's from Memphis, and he is very good. Made 6 threes in the first half. He had 20 in the first half. Minnesota led by 24 at the break, 48-24. Second half, though, another good move by Tony Fegan. He had 10 for the Jackrabbits. And then Jordan Dykstra will get 2 of his 17. He led the way in scoring for South Dakota State, but before he got going, Minnesota ran out to a 31-point lead in the second half. Here is another Minneapolis kid for Minnesota, Rodney Williams. His only 2 points of the game, but the Gophers had more than enough. 88-64, Minnesota with the win. So the Jackrabbits came home. They beat Dakota State on Thursday night and then took on California Bakersfield on Saturday with Walters back in the lineup. Chad White, another 3. The Jacks shot it okay from the field, but they got to the free throw line a lot in this one. Walters cuffs it. He had 18 points and 6 assists. Jordan Dykstra had 11. Braden Carlson added 12. Tony Fegan had 16. And the Jacks were down in the second half, but they score the final 6 points of the game and win it 69-63.
Well, that is 23 wins in a row at home for the South Dakota State men. Only Kansas and Syracuse have longer streaks in Division I right now, by the way. Back to that Gopher game, though. Yeah. The Gophers are very good. They're in the top 25 right now. If nothing else, though, this proves how much Walters means to South Dakota State, doesn't it?
It does. They look like a team without a captain out there, and they really missed Walters' playmaking abilities and also his ability, obviously, to score and to rebound, but also just, I think, the presence and the calming force he gives them. They struggled against Minnesota, no doubt.
All right, the Jacks hit the road for the next 6 games. They're at Montana on Saturday. They play at North Dakota State on December 29th, at USD on January 5th as we get the Summit League season going. So those are going to be good matchups. The Summit League Men's Player of the Week this week is Taylor Braun of North Dakota State. 23 in a win over Morehead State, and he had those 22 in the win over North Dakota. Taylor Braun Jr. from NDSU is the player of the week and women's basketball when we come back.